Week 3. In Week 2, we focused on inquiry-based learning, characteristics of an inquiry-based classroom, inquiry-based learning classroom. We also focused on strategies for an inquiry-based classroom. Strategies such as structured inquiry, guided inquiry, free inquiry, project sharing. This week, we will be highlighting on the role of teachers and students in an inquiry-based learning. Week 3, the key areas are role of students and teachers. Students view themselves as learners in the process of learning. Students accept an invitation to learn and willingly engage in an exploration process. Students plan and carry out learning activities. Students communicate using a variety of methods. Students critique their learning practices. Teacher's role in an inquiry classroom, a facilitator for learning. The teacher reflects on the purpose and makes plans for inquiry learning. The teacher facilitates classroom learning. An inquiry classroom is quite different from a traditional classroom. These differences become increasingly pronounced as the teacher and students become more comfortable and experienced with inquiry learning. It can often be difficult to locate the teacher in an inquiry classroom because the teacher is rarely found in the traditional spot behind the teacher's desk. Students always move around the classroom as they interact with others and locate the appropriate materials and resources for their work. Role of students and teachers. Students doing inquiry learning. What does inquiry learning look like? Much of what is said about science and inquiry learning can be applied to all subjects. Students view themselves as learning in the process of learning, such as I can collaborate, I have the desire to, I am able to, I know. Students view themselves as learning in the process of learning. They look forward to learning. They demonstrate a desire to learn more. They seek to collaborate and work cooperatively with teacher and peers. They are more confident in drawing, learning, demonstrating a willingness to modify ideas and take calculated risk and display appropriate skepticism. Students' role. Students accept an invitation to learn and willingly engage in an exploration process. They exhibit curiosity and ponder observations. They move around, selecting and using the materials they need. They confer with classmates and teacher about observations and questions. They try out some of their own ideas. Students' role. Students plan out and carry out their learning activities. They design ways to try out their ideas, not always expecting to be told what to do. They plan ways to verify, extend, confirm or discard ideas. They carry out activities by using materials, observing, evaluating and recording information. They sort out information and decide what is important. Students communicate using a variety of methods. They express ideas in a variety of methods such as including journals, drawing, reports, graphing and so forth. They listen, speak and write about learning activities with parents, teacher and peers. They use the language of learning, apply the skills of processing information and develop their own ground rules for appropriate discipline. Students' role. It also involves with students critique their learning practices. They use indicators to assess their own work. They recognize and report their strengths and weakness. They reflect on the learning with their teachers and their peers. So let's revise. What is students' learning based on? Students demonstrate. What do students exhibit? What connections do students make? And what information do the students sort out of? Teacher's role in an inquiry classroom. Facilitator of learning. Inquiry-based learning can be easier on teachers because it transfers some responsibility from teachers to students. This transfer of responsibility gives students more authority and increases their engagement. Inquiry-based learning is a useful method that educators should embrace as it helps to enhance the learning experience of students. The method gives children the opportunity to take a hands-on approach in their education while obtaining several important skills that can be used at all levels of their learning, even if it is there for their future. Instead of an educator telling students everything they need to know, inquiry-based learning places students' questions, ideas and observations at the center of the learning experience and requires them to engage in evidence-based reasoning and creative problem solving. The approach emphasizes learning by doing, encouraging students to build their knowledge through experience and exploration. The teacher reflects on the purpose and makes plans for inquiry learning. The teacher plans for ways of each learner to be actively involved in the learning process. The teacher understands the necessary skills, knowledge, and habits of mind which is needed for inquiry learning. The teacher understands and plays a very vital role to encourage and enable the learner to take increasing responsibility of their learning. The teacher ensures that class learning is focused on relevant and applicable terms. The teacher is prepared for unexpected questions or suggestions from the learner. The teacher prepares the classroom environment with the necessary learning tools, materials, and resources for active involvement of the learner. Teacher's role in an inquiry-based classroom. Facilitator for learning. The teacher facilitates classroom learning. The teacher's daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly facilitation plans focus on setting content learning in a conceptual framework. They also stress skill development and model and nurture the development of habits of mind. The teacher accepts that teaching is also a learning process. The teacher asks questions, encouraging divergent thinking that leads to more questions. The teacher values and encourages responses, and when the responses convey misconceptions, effectively explores the cause and appropriately guides the learner. The teacher is constantly alert to learning obstacles and guides learners when necessary. The teacher asks many why, how do you know, and what is the evidence type of questions. The teacher makes student assignment an ongoing part of the facilitation of the learning process. So let's revise. Teaching is, teachers encourage, teachers are constantly alert of. In week 3, we look through the role of students and teachers. Students view themselves as learners in the learning of process. Students accept an invitation to learn and willingness to engage in the exploration process. Students plan and carry out learning activities. Students communicate using a variety of methods. Students critique their learning practices. Teacher's role in an inquiry classroom, a facilitator for learning. The teacher reflects on the purpose and makes plans for inquiry learning. The teacher facilitates classroom learning. In this last week of our course, we will focus on the benefits of inquiry-based learning, the points to remember in an inquiry-based learning, and conclusion. Inquiry-based learning is a useful method that educators should embrace as it helps to enhance the learning experiences of students. The method gives children the opportunity to take a hands-on approach in their education while obtaining several important skills that can be used at all levels of their learning and even into their future careers. Benefits of inquiry-based learning. Reinforce curriculum content. Whereas some inquiry-based learning as a departure from the curriculum, you can use it to reinforce relevant content and improve the understanding of core concepts. This is due to curiosity's effect on the brain. When a concept sparks curiosity, there is an increased activity in the hippocampus. This region of the brain responsible for memory creation. When students show more curiosity than normal regarding a specific topic, satiate it by using their questions to introduce an inquiry activity in the coming days. In doing so, they should effectively retain essential information gleaned during the exercise, according to a study from the Association of Psychological Sciences. Warms up the brain for learning. Running a brief inquiry activity to start class can help students absorb information throughout the day, according to the same study. Specifically, it states that curiosity prepares the brain for learning. allowing students to become more proficient at understanding and remembering skills and concepts. An easy way to inspire curiosity is by launching an inquiry activity as a surprise. Related to a recent topic students should find especially interesting. Begin a lesson by playing a video or sharing a primary source of document. Then, give students an open question to answer either individually or as a group. This will help start class in a curiosity-sparkling, intellectually stimulating manner. Promotes a deeper understanding of content. By delving into a concept through inquiry, students should see it as more than a simple rule, idea, or formula. Many of them will understand how the idea was developed, why the rule or formula works, when they can properly apply the rule, idea, or formula. This is because the process of asking open questions, solving them through original strategies, empowers students to take ownership of their learning. Barring hiccups, they should be able to build understanding of a concept through their own method and thinking style. The same principle applies to experiential learning, which puts students at the center of the learning experience. Helps make learning rewarding. Inquiry can help students see the intrinsic rewards of learning. The author states that many kids learn it as an attempt to earn the rewards of parental or teacher approval or the avoidance of failure. As a result, they may not appreciate the inherent benefits of learning. It shows how students fulfilling the act of discovery is, and that the theorizing a new strategy or original conclusion is rewarded. Because of this, they grow to enjoy the learning process itself, not parent or teacher approval. This means the student appreciation for learning can improve with a simple inquiry exercise. So let's revise. Inquiry-based learning is reinforces content, develops curiosity to a certain extent, delves into the content, intrinsic rewards of learning, all the above, none of the above. Benefits of inquiry-based learning. Let's continue. Builds initiative and self-direction. Students can improve certain transferable skills through inquiry-based learning, many of which relate to initiative and self-direction. This is evident when examining the steps of the inquiry process. Students learn how to ask questions, investigate, discuss, collaborate, cooperate, and reach their own conclusion. Although they can separately build these skills through other activities, self-guided inquiry, and analysis synthesis, this development. Such skills will not only prove useful as students reach higher grades, but enter post-secondary schools and beyond. Benefits of inquiry-based learning. Works in almost any classroom. Inquiry-based learning can also benefit teachers as you can repurpose activities for almost any classroom, even regardless of grade and individual skill levels. This is because you can adapt the pace and content to suit the needs of the students. Appeal to students who struggle to grasp content through traditional lessons. Deliver exercises that greatly differ, using distinct content and investigation methods. Use an inquiry exercise either as on a minds-on activity or review or full lesson or standalone project. Reinforce and expand upon any relevant concept as long as students have shown curiosity towards it. In these ways, you will have the flexibility to provide inquiry exercises to the majority of your classes year after year. It also offers differentiated instruction. Running an inquiry-based learning activity will give you a chance to use differentiated instruction strategies appealing to the diverse learning styles of your students. Students can work by themselves or as a part of a small or large group. Inquiry itself typically involves methods such as discussion and guided research. You can also provide content in the form of text, audio, video, and virtual or physical manipulatives such as building blocks. Delivering a range of content and ways to process it. inquiry activities can allow you to meet your students' distinct learning needs and preferences. So let's revise. Inquiry-based learning helps in improves transferable skills, struggle to grasp knowledge, flexible approach, differentiated instruction, all the above or none of the above. 10 reasons to use inquiry-based learning. It helps to nurture students' passion and talents, empower student voice and honor student voice, increase motivation and engagement, foster curiosity and a love for learning, teach grit, perseverance, growth mindset and self-regulation, make research meaningful and develop strong research skills, deepen understanding to go beyond memorizing facts and content, fortify the importance of asking good questions, enable students to take ownership of their own learning and to reach their goals, solve the problems of tomorrow in the classrooms of today. While inquiry-based learning is an effective method that can be embraced in a variety of situations, it isn't a method that should be used for everything. There are multiple learning situations and lessons that would benefit from a more direct approach, such as explaining how to complete a straightforward multiplication or division equation. Asking higher order questions in a situation like this would likely confuse students, especially if they do not already have the proper knowledge base to take part in the discussion. However, if an opportunity arises to engage students by asking questions and encouraging them to play a bigger role in the knowledge development, embracing inquiry-based learning will help you engage young learners and foster excitement in the subjects they are learning about. Inquiry-based learning strategies and activities for teachers. Like any teaching method, there are strategies to help you successfully run an inquiry activity. These strategies will also allow you and your students to enjoy their full extent of inquiry-based learning benefits. There are few points that you need to remember while having an inquiry-based learning. Keep guiding principles in mind. To run an inquiry activity, there are broad principles you should follow. Learners are at the center of inquiry process. You, along with the resources and technology, provide them the support. Inquiry activities themselves should concentrate on building information processing and critical thinking abilities. You should monitor how students develop these skills as they build conceptual understanding of the topic in question. As well as facilitating the exercise, try to learn more about your students' learning habits and inquiry-based learning in general. Keeping these principles in mind should keep you understand your students and focus on the overarching purpose of inquiry-based learning. Demonstrate how to participate. Because students may not be familiar with inquiry-based learning, consider demonstrating how to participate in an inquiry activity. Specifically, they must learn how to first contribute their ideas, develop those ideas, question themselves and group members in a constructive manner, investigate to the fullest extent possible their ideas and hypotheses. Launching a mock exercise for the class to tackle as a group, actively participate to give students a first-hand look as to how the complete process would look like. For example, after presenting an open question, facilitate and contribute to a brainstorming session. This will exemplify pitching and developing ideas. Demonstrating how to participate in this way should prepare students for future exercises. Surprise students. To spark curiosity and enjoy its aforementioned benefits, run a surprise inquiry activity. With little to no context, start class by playing a video, handing out a mathematical formula or list of math word problems, distributing a primary source document. The content piece must relate to a topic that interests students, effectively engaging them. After they have examined the content, split them into small groups and give them an open question to answer. For example, you may ask them to determine applications for the mathematical formula or word problems. As research about curiosity indicates, their findings and conclusion should stick with them beyond the activity. Hence, let's revise. Inquiry-based learning. Learners are left by themselves. Learners are at the center of the inquiry process. Constructivist approach. Surprise activity. All the above or none of the above. Points to remember in an inquiry-based learning. Use inquiry when traditional methods won't work. Structured or guided inquiry activities can lend themselves to topics that students typically struggle to grasp, allowing them to process content in different ways. Investigating a question you present, they should be able to use their own techniques to analyze information that may normally be too challenging otherwise. As a result, they will likely form conclusions that make sense to them. You can then discuss these conclusions and fill the knowledge gap to ensure everyone is on the same page. Furthermore, monitoring students through the activity can teach you about their learning styles, informing how to approach other difficult lessons. If you're writing report card comments, you may use the opportunity to use and observe student behavior. Understand when inquiry won't work. Inquiry-based learning delivers its share of benefits, but you must recognize which lessons don't call for inquiry. Take this scenario as an example. You want to run a guided inquiry activity for math class, which A. introduces negative integers and B. requires students to determine the concept's application in real-life scenario. Asking students to read introductory text about negative integers will likely drain time and cause confusion. On the other hand, a brief overview will allow them to spend more time on the latter part of the activity, which focuses on analysis and discovery. As this example shows, there are cases when a simple explanation will suffice over an elongated activity. Don't wait for the perfect question. A student can ask a question that stimulates classmates' curiosity, signaling you to prepare or launch an inquiring activity. But this is rarely the case, and you shouldn't wait for it. Rather, you can initiate an inquiry activity when you feel it's appropriate, but it must use as a guiding question. It should reflect a core curriculum concept, should engage students from past or other classes. It should interest students as indicated in previous lessons and discussions. The question's source, whether from you or student, is secondary. Run a check-in afterwards. Allotting time for class-wide reflection lets students discuss challenges and discoveries, filling knowledge gaps and supplementing findings. This prepares them for future lessons and inquiry activities. They learn about an array of ideas to consider throughout their study of the specific topic and strategies to try during their next exercise. It can be specifically useful for learners who struggle in small groups, giving them a different way to process the activity's outcome. So let's revise. Inquiry-based learning is: learners can fill knowledge gaps, monitoring their learning styles, focus on analysis and discovery, reflect a core curriculum concept, all the above, none of the above. So in conclusion, wrapping up this guide to inquiry-based learning, armed through a thorough understanding of inquiry-based learning and the strategies, you need to run activities your students should see benefits. These not only include an improved understanding of curriculum concepts and the development of transferable skills, but, according to research and proponents, a greater appreciation for learners' inherent rewards. This in itself should create a more engaged classroom.